already in class you did a little exploratory activity, taking functions and adding and subtracting values to them and trying to slide them up and down, left or right on your graph, on your coordinate plane. And you should have discovered that when you take a function, an f of x, and add some number to it, by adding that number on, it slides your graph upwards. When you subtract some number from your function, it slides your graph down. And that should make intuitive sense if you think about f of x meaning the same thing as y, or our outputs. So when we take y and add some number onto them, all of the y values, the heights, are going to increase, and all of our points are going to go up. If we take away a number from all of our y values are going to drop, and our graph is going to go down. The next notation that you investigate is not quite so straightforward, the f of x plus k. Now notice the k is not being added on to the y values of the entire function, it's just added on to our domains, or our x's. So when we add a number onto the x's, it actually shifts the graph to the left. And when we subtract a number from the x's, it shifts the graph to the right. It does the opposite of what we would expect it to do. And the very common question is, why the heck does that happen? I'm going to use the absolute value function to try to show you why shifting left and right goes the opposite of what we would expect. So I've got a t-chart here to show all of my negative values are turning into positive because they're the distance away from 0. And I'm going to transform this equation, this function, into the absolute value of x minus 5. So my minus 5 is in with the x, inside of the sticks. Now essentially, we want to keep the y values the same because we don't want to change the height. We don't want to be shifting our graph up or down. We want to keep all of the y values at the same height. So I'm going to copy those same y values, 2, 1, 0, 1, 2, into my new t-chart. And watch what happens here if I take all of my x values from my t-chart and subtract 5. Negative 2 subtract 5 will make negative 7. My new t-chart has an x value of negative 7. When I plug in negative 7 into my new function, negative 7 take away 5 is negative 12, and the absolute value of negative 12 is 12, but we wanted it to be positive 2. So negative 7 does not give us the right y value. But notice, if I get rid of this work, and instead of subtracting 5 or shifting 5 to the left, decreasing all those values, if I take this x value of negative 2 and add 5, or move it to the right 5, negative 2 plus 5 is 3. And when I substitute 3 into my new function, 3 minus 5 is negative 2, and the absolute value of negative 2 makes positive 2. Check. When I go down to negative 1 and add 5, that's going to land me at 4. And when I change my x value in my function to 4, 4 minus 5 is negative 1, and the absolute value of negative 1 is positive 1. And then I can just keep adding 5 or moving our x values 5 to the right to keep our y values at 2, 1, 0, 1, and 2. So by minusing a number from our x value, we're actually shifting our points to the right. And if we were to change this to like absolute value of x plus 6, for all of our y values to stay at 2, 1, 0, 1, 2, all of our x values from our original t-chart would have to subtract 6. So negative 2 take away 6 is negative 8. And we'll check that real quick. Negative 8 plus 6 is negative 2. Absolute value of negative 2 is 2. And by subtracting 6 from those x values, you're shifting your graph to the left 6 spots.